Hey there, thanks for tuning into Duckbricks. I'm Chris, and today we are going to be continuing my top 10 LEGO minifigure series, where previously we looked at armor and weapons, and now we're going to be counting down my top 10 favorite LEGO minifigure helmets. Choosing these helmets was incredibly difficult because obviously LEGO has made so many iconic helmets over the course of the many years of making minifigs. But I finally narrowed it down to top 30, then top 20, and now top 10, and let's dive into things right now. Over the years, there have been literally thousands of LEGO minifigure helmets, so picking my favorites was no easy task. But I decided to go on down this list of my top 10 favorite LEGO minifig helmets, and I'd love to hear what you have to think and what your favorites are. Starting off with number 10, we have something that technically is comprised of multiple different pieces, and that is the LEGO Ninjago Stone Armor Helmet. Introduced in 2013, this helmet and armor combo appeared in a number of different sets, all focused on the Stone Army, led by General Kozu. I just love how they took the early template of the Samurai X helmet, utilizing the same exact helmet piece, but they made a much more elaborate visor for the helmets themselves. In many cases, especially for Kozu and the General Stone General, they were actually printed with either metallic silver teeth or black teeth for Kozu. Now, unprinted versions did appear in a couple of sets, a plain black version for the generic Stone Warrior in the Cryptarium Prison Breakout in 2016, as well as a plain red version for a revamped version of Kozu in the Samurai X Cave Chaos, also in 2016. But when they first came out in 2013, they actually came printed with the teeth. The black with red printing on it came in Garmatron for General Kozu, and the black with silver printing came in 3 different sets: the Warrior Bike, the Golden Dragon, and the Temple of Light, appearing in the General Stone Swordsman minifigure. But now we can move on to the next pick, and then we go all the way back in time to the minifigure headgear helmet castle with dragon crown, which was introduced in 1993 and lasted all the way up to 2003. I'm not going to name every single set it came in because it came in 33 different sets, but I will name some standouts. A chrome silver version of the helmet was included in only one set, the Dragon Rider for Knights Kingdom 1, featuring the villain of the theme, Cedric the Bull, with the chrome silver helmet. It could be combined with the silver breastplate as well as the silver sword, which you could collect across a number of different sets, bring them all together to have the ultimate armored up minifigure. A chrome gold version was introduced in Orient Expedition's Dragon Fortress in 2003, featured as one of the main collectibles of the wave, which also featured alongside the majestic Orient Expedition dragon, which is one of my favorite LEGO dragons of all time. Otherwise, the piece only appeared in black, mostly across Fright Nights, which is really where it was introduced, as well as some of the Dragon Masters, which is also where the helmet was widely used. We could see a couple of them appear in Knights Kingdom 1, and they would pop up in some other themes as well, like Time Cruisers, which really was trying to mix together a ton of different themes, but largely, this was mostly just restricted to a certain number of castle sets: Fright Nights, Knights Kingdom 1, and Dragon Knights. Speaking of time travel, let's go all the way up to the year of 2015, where we saw one of my own personal favorite original LEGO themes in the form of Ultra Agents, the direct successor to LEGO Agents, which in and of itself was a successor to LEGO Alpha Team. Now, Ultra Agents in 2015 landed at the time when LEGO was just discovering that they could dual mold pieces, and because of that, the Ultra Agents were equipped with a dual molded helmet. Officially, this is the headgear helmet space with trans lightproof visor and ear protector, but of course this was really only used in Ultra Agents, specifically for the very elusive Final Wave. It came in 4 sets: the Agent Stealth Patrol, Antimatter's Portal Hideout, the Ultra Agents Ocean HQ, and the Ultra Copter vs. Antimatter, and the LEGO designers were really cooking on this piece. Of course, being one of the very first dual molded helmets, you had all sorts of really cool detail factored into the build. We have these transparent blue sides of the helmets, a visor that goes over the top of the face, and even a transparent blue back part. The downside of this is that obviously this was in the early days of dual molding. LEGO was still just kind of trying to figure out how to make dual molded pieces look good on minifigures, and because of that, characters that obviously had hair in their previous iterations and had a lot of hair very clearly are bald underneath the helmets because the dual molding transparent element just extends a little bit too far up the front and way too far up the back. I can see what they were trying to go for and I love the detailing of it, but without that hair, it just doesn't look quite as good because you can clearly see that they just didn't really account for that part when they dual molded it, but obviously that's something they would fix for future dual molded helmets. Moving on from that, we have a helmet that personally is very nostalgic to me, that maybe might not be one of the best ones, but for me, I grew up playing with this helmet, so I have to include it on the list. That is, Minifigure Headgear Helmet with 2 studs on back. A very simple name, but essentially this was a helmet that primarily was introduced in chrome blue as well as in white, introduced for Aquazone in 1998, but also appearing as late as 2001's Life on Mars. It appeared in white throughout the LEGO Town Spaceport sub-theme, which appeared in pretty much almost every single one of those sets for the astronauts, but my favorite usages were in chrome blue. Mostly appearing in LEGO Aquazone, they actually were used by the Hydronauts, and Hydronauts only had a couple of different sets, so it really only appeared in the Hydro Search Sub, the Hydro Crystallization Station, and the Crystal Detector, and in Life on Mars, despite it being the main helmet for the human faction, it only appeared in Solar Explorer, which also was my very first LEGO set, and that's why these helmets hold a very special place in my heart. They may not be the most detailed or the most exciting helmets, but I love them for what they are. They absolutely have a very nostalgic feeling to me, and I love the usage of the studs on the back because, which you can see in the Hydronauts divers here, they actually were able to use them to add lights to the back, which I think is a really clever detail. Of course, LEGO doesn't really make a ton of pieces in chrome anymore, especially in chrome blue. This is actually one of the only parts we ever got in chrome blue aside from a couple of Belleville pieces, so it just makes it even more special to get as a minifigure piece. But moving on from that, we can take a look at the next helmet, and this one sadly was exclusive to a collectible minifigure, in that it appeared in Series 8's Diver in 2012. This is the Headgear Helmet Underwater Deep Diver with trans clear glass. Now, why do I love this helmet? First of all, it depicts a very classic style of diver. When you think back to those like 1960s, 50s kind of classic diver aesthetic, going like 20,000 leagues under the sea, this is the kind of diving helmet that you think of, and I just love the design, especially because the diving helmet factors in a magnifying glass into the center. Yes, that is literally the piece used for the LEGO magnifying glass, which means that it actually magnifies the minifigure's face and makes it look really funny, almost as if they're underwater, which is super cool. Add to the fact that it's cast in this really interesting metallic gold and copper pearl gold type of color. It's listed as just regular pearl gold, but it feels a little bit more metallic to me, and that makes it one of the most interesting and intricate LEGO dual molds, and sadly, something that we would never see again outside that collectible minifigure. But moving on from that, we can take a look all the way back to LEGO Adventurers, and there we have the headdress jungle with colored feather pattern appearing in the Achu minifigure. Now this was part of the LEGO Adventurers Jungle Expedition subtheme, and they actually included an unprinted plain yellow version in set number 7410 Jungle River in 2003. However, it mainly was used in 1999, where we saw it used for Achu, which is one of the most detailed LEGO minifigures of its time. For 1999, this minifigure was crazy, especially molded mask. He had a special printed cape, printing all along the front and downside of the torso and legs. It's just so impressive, and it really looks amazing on the minifigure. It's one of the most unique molded headgear sculpts, and while it's not, say, as flashy as some of the more recent Aztec warriors or stuff they've done for collectible minifigures, I really like it because this kind of set the style and pattern for a headdress-like piece that we would eventually get refined in the collectible minifigure series. But speaking of collectible minifigures, let's move on to our next helmet at number 4 on the list, and that is the Hazmat Suit Helmet. First introduced in 2011 for the Series 4 Hazmat Guy, this piece thankfully did not remain exclusive to the collectible minifigures, later appearing in Toxikita's Toxic Meltdown for LEGO Ultra Agents in 2014, which is a white recolor, very cool to see the Astor City logo on it, and then in 2016 for the LEGO City Volcano Explorers, we got it in my favorite color yet, the flat silver color. Thankfully, the piece was still in production by the time that 2016 hit, where we got it in a special recolor in flat silver, my favorite color yet for the LEGO City Volcano Explorers, and in 2022, most recently, we got it included in the LEGO Fire Brigade set from LEGO City in just a plain flame yellowish orange or bright light orange with a trans brown face shield. This is a really cool piece because obviously LEGO wasn't really doing dual molded parts like this in 2011, they didn't really perfect the technique until 2015 where we saw that Ultra Agents helmet, but it works super well for a hazmat suit. It is one of my favorite LEGO accessory pieces ever, and I only wish we got this in more colors. A piece of concept art from Alien Conquest 2011 showcases this piece being used, but sadly, we never saw it in that theme, and so far we've only gotten it in these 4 different color combinations. But now, we can move on to number 3 on the list. That's right, we've made it to the top 3. And at number 3, we return to LEGO Ninjago, and that is the Ninjago Ice Samurai Helmet. Now this is an example of a dual molded piece done right. It is a traditional samurai helmet, but the ridges on the side as well as the crest on the front are dual molded with transparent blue. And even better, in 2019's Secrets of the Forbidden Spinjitzu Wave, we got it in a ton of sets and in 3 different colors. Pearl Dark Gray for the devious formling General Vex, Dark Red for the standard Blizzard Samurai, and in white for the evil Ice Emperor, who of course was actually Zane, who had his mind wiped and his brain corrupted by the Scroll of Forbidden Spinjitzu. This featured some of the coolest minifigures ever, pun absolutely intended, where you saw they also sported dual molded armor, which went perfectly well with the helmets. I will seize any chance I can get to get multiples of these figures because they are just so amazing. I love the dual molding, and I only wish we also got these in more colors. LEGO did make a pearl dark gray and a transparent purple version of it, which originally was supposed to be used in Ninjago Crystallized, but sadly, they changed the minifigures last minute into a completely different head sculpt, and we never actually got these as actual pieces outside of just the 2019 wave. But now, we can move on to number 2. And coming in at number 2, we actually have a helmet from a licensed minifigure, and this is the Headgear Helmet Castle with cheek and nose protection, with gold trim and crest with red tips pattern, aka the helmet that appeared in the Hobbit Battle of the Five Armies Dane Ironfoot minifigure. This only appeared in one set, literally called the Battle of the Five Armies, one of the most interesting LEGO Hobbit and Lord of the Rings sets yet, but because of that, this helmet is one of the most expensive. The piece by itself is upwards of $20 on Bricklink, and if you want the entire minifigure, be prepared to shell out upwards of $50. But honestly, I think it's worth it. This is one of the most intricately detailed helmets ever. It's casted in flat silver, but it has a metallic gold paint to it and a dark red painting to it as well. It's just so well done. I am blown away by the amount of detail. And I just wish that this was available in bulk because I would absolutely equip a dwarf army with a ton of these. That being said, I'm looking at Bricklink right now and it looks like a factory misprint version of this exists in plain with no printing, and someone is selling 51 of them for $8 a piece. A high price to pay for a helmet, but that is very tempting. Anyways, moving on to my number 1 favorite helmet. This might actually be a pretty controversial choice. I'm really curious what folks in the comments think about this one, but I gotta give it to the classic LEGO Iron Man helmet. introduced in 2012 for the LEGO Marvel's Avengers movie and discontinued in 2021, which is when they introduced a brand new version of the helmet, which in my opinion is a little worse. This was a really cool set of pieces because we actually had the helmet be able to flip up. For me, maybe there's something just very iconic about it, but I just love how the actual Iron Man face is molded into the helmet itself. The newer version is a lot more versatile because you can use it for different figures, but it is just a plain print, and I feel like some of that magic is missing from the new version because you actually had the eyes, the cheekbones, even the lines on the bottom of the chin molded into the faceplate of this helmet. Now we got this in a ton of colors. White for the Avenjet space mission, dark bluish gray for War Machine and the Iron Man Extremis Seaport battle, black for certain Iron Man and War Machine minifigures across 2016 to 2019, of course most commonly in dark red for Iron Man, but also in sand green for the Scuba Iron Man, dark blue for the Avengers Tower and Iron Patriot, just all sorts of different colors for this piece and different matching helmets to go alongside it. I think my personal favorite iteration of this piece is when they actually colored the base version of the helmet silver and used it for the Silver Centurion minifigure, which is among my favorite minifigs of all time, maybe even my top 3. And yeah, bro thinks he's mini superheroes today, but seriously, that minifigure is so good with dual molded arms, printing on the side of the arms and legs, and a recolor for the Chima armor. Oh, just so amazing. And that helmet is just so perfect because they literally were able to print the cheekbones on the side of the helmet to make it just that much more accurate to the movie. I love how versatile this is, how you can flip it up and display the face underneath, and I feel like it really captures what the Iron Man helmet looks like in the MCU to a level that not even the current helmet really captures. But that's all for this list, and I hope you enjoyed me counting down my top 10 favorite LEGO minifigure helmets of all time. Of course, you can agree or disagree, and I'm sure that a lot of folks in the comments will have their own suggestions and ideas, so do let me know what are your favorites, and if you're still watching by this point, comment down below which one was your favorite, and let me know that you were still watching because I love it when people watch these videos all the way through. Thank you so much for watching. Be sure to like and subscribe for even more LEGO news, reviews, discussion, and analyses coming your way very soon. Thanks so much, and I'll cook you next time.